we mentioned Kant's categorical imperative, which is, it's kind of murky in his writings. It's been a long time, but it's basically the idea that you can assess the moral value of something by willing the universalization of the principle behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it good to, whatever, eat meat? Well, people can excuse that by going, it's just one thing, it's just this, and say, okay, let's try to universalize and assume that everybody in my position was making this decision. What would the outcomes be?
Mm-hmm.
And they asked how we felt about like our YouTube channel and our lifestyle, given that categorical imperative that we sometimes apply.
I've said this all the time. No single job holds up to that.
Yeah.
If 100% of the United States was farmers, I guess if the whole world was farmers, we'd still be naked, though, is the problem.
You still wouldn't have any carpenters.
You wouldn't have a house.
Well, so Kant's categorical imperative, which I like to start with, is so screwy. Like, I remember reading it and being like, it's got a ton of problems.
Well, we've been asked that a lot. I mean, it's like, oh, well, not everyone, if everyone made a charisma YouTube channel, no one would eat. It's like, well, if everyone were a farmer, no one would have a house.
The problem is essentially, how do you define the principle? Mm-hmm. So if I define the principle as everybody should contribute to the job at which they are best, and that's what I'm doing, and if everybody, maybe that's universalizable. If I says everyone should start a charisma YouTube channel, or everyone should start a YouTube channel, or everyone should be in,
If I thought that 100 million people would implement that advice, because this podcast get 100 million views and 100% of people would quit their jobs to be YouTubers, I would think long and hard about it. My impression is that will maybe touch a handful of people who are in jobs they hate and looking for a change, and inspire them to go do something that's good for the world and good for them. Mm-hmm. But I'm very much aware that most people don't quit their jobs after watching me say that it was good that I did.
Yeah. Well, it's just an interesting. I think it was a good attempt by him back in the day to come up with some sort of rational based standard of morality. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the idea of how do you describe my career decision? Is it, like I said, is it a charisma YouTube channel, a YouTube channel, pursuing my interests, finding a way to impact a lot of people positively? Because depending on how you define it, I can universalize it.
Or leaning into what you were most talented at.
Or not, or it's a horrible idea for the entire world. So I forget that was just making me think of some of these beliefs.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, am I universalizing this very, very particular belief or something broader than that? So it gets dicey when you try to use that, even though sometimes I do think of, can I?
It's an intelligent question. It's an intelligent question for sure. It just doesn't even, we can't all be doctors. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't hold up with any profession really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, not everyone can be an employee, nor a manager, nor a thing. Yeah. There's a lot of differences.
Closest you could get is maybe if everybody
was totally self-sufficient
on a farm, non-violently self-sufficient. Yeah, that's like the only thing you could have everyone do and have it work out.
Yeah, but
workout would be like living.
But if they all eat rabbits, then all the rabbits are going to die. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like as soon as there's everybody.
It wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good for the progress, the technological progress of the world. But the hardest part would be getting everyone to just be pacifists. If we could just do that part, that'd be pretty massive.
I even wonder if that's universalizable. Because then the problem with pacifism is that there are things that then you run into cultural beliefs of what involves violence. So clearly, like, we circumcise in the United States of America. We take newborn baby boys and we chop off a piece of their genitalia. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's exactly the same as female mutilation in some places in Africa, but you could imagine a society that looked at that and said, we're going to invade because you're butchering your children.
This violates our nonviolence pact.
Yeah. And if you don't like that, I mean, there's laws in other places. The way that you would punish stealing is with some sort of capital punishment where you lose a hand or something like that. Does that approach? So pacifism, while wonderful, does break down because what is considered, because of these cultural differences of what constitutes justified violence and what doesn't. And then you ask yourself, do I have now a moral imperative to intervene in this other way of doing things? So yeah, I don't know that anything is universalizable like that, even though it's a fun question to ask sometimes. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.